Hi everyone, Angelina, Sparkling Diva, and another pick a card reading for you. And yeah, it's a bit late. It's what is it? Wednesday, yeah. But I've been so incredibly busy in trying to get the my garage renovated, done up. Not me myself, everything, but I have a handyman come over. But then I'm also very busy and gosh, and getting used to the colder temperatures here, and since autumn really has started, I'm really cold. I don't like cold. In any case, here is the reading, and I decided to go for a love reading. That has been a while, so why not? Let's have some fun. Look at it. And we're gonna do that with three oracle decks. So Ogham oracle decks, which is also why I have my it's kind of like rooms, right? The Ogham sticks in the background, just for decorative purposes. But these are made for me years ago by a druid. And I haven't used it very often because there's so many divinatory things that you can use, right? Like runes and Ogham sticks and cards. And I was trying to get the hang of tarot at the time. And, well, you can't just do everything. But I do have the Ogham sticks. So I thought, well, I want them there in view. And, of course, the crystals to choose from. I'm only doing 2 sets for this reading. And so if you do not feel cold to, you don't feel anything with this reading, then it's likely just not for you. Otherwise, just go for either one of the 2 choices. And I have Golden Healer with Apido and a Rosovia stone as for numbers 1. And for the numbers 2, this is a green opal from Madagascar, also with a Rosovia stone. I don't know why they wanted to be here, the Rosovia stones. So I just added, I happened to have 2. So I just added one with both crystals. I'm sorry, I'm giggling a bit because my cat, my little Nila, is indoors because it's raining. And yeah, she has all this energy and she wants to go out, but... So she's, playing around indoors now, doing all these funny things that young cats do. In any case, that's the crystals to choose from. I will put a card in there as well from each set, 1 card. And I have used, or I am using, I should say, 2 different Celtic tree oracles for this reading. And I did that because both are new. I haven't had them very long yet. But there's only 25 letters and cards in the Ogham alphabet and also in the decks. And to have all options, all cards available for each choice, each pick, I decided to use both decks. So for the numbers 1, I'm using, that book is quite large. I'm using this one. That was Nila. If you hear any noise or weird sounds, that's my cat. That's this one for the numbers 1. And for, let's get that focus back. Yeah, she looks decapitated. I don't like that. I'm gonna stick it up there. There's also not working out. Okay. And for the numbers 2, I'm using this, the Celtic Tree Oracle. And for the interpretations, it doesn't matter at all because I used information and knowledge from both books for the messages, for the interpretations. So anyhow, that was the information. Now I'm going to get going with the reading. Make your choice, please. Either numbers 1, the Golden Healer with the green. The green is the Apido. Or the green opal from Madagascar. I both have a Rosovia stone. So I'll see you at the pick of your choice. Right, the numbers 1. I actually want the crystal there. The golden healer with Apido. Your first card, and I used a spread for this, and this is for the position, the question, what you aren't aware of, and this is all about love and relationship, whether you are single or in a relationship or dating or not, it doesn't matter. It's just all about love. And in general, I was hoping to get some clarity as to why things are working out or are going the way they are going, right? So this is what you are not aware of. And then you have Heather. I'm not going to bother with the Celtic names. And what you aren't aware of with Heather is your own potential and your possibilities that you have. Like Heather is evergreen, right? And you are, in that sense, ever creative, ever fertile, ever growing with new ideas and adventures and so on and so forth. You're like that too. And you don't see that really. You're not really fully aware of that. And it also means that you create the beauty of your life through your thoughts and beliefs, your emotions, and your actions and activities. The law of attraction, right? And that does mean that you have to be mindful to cultivate good, positive, beautiful thoughts. So you also attract that kind of stuff in your life, in your love life as well. And it is possible that you are stuck or bouncing off of something from the past that wasn't so great. And maybe that is a past commitment, because we are here in the image we see a hand fasting, which is the pagan wedding. So that's a commitment. But the commitment doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It could be, it's likely, but it doesn't have to be. But whatever it was, it's something that you went for with heart and soul, and it didn't really pan out. It got you hurt, disappointed. It wasn't fulfilling. And in that sense, it could even be a job, a career, or anything else. But it can also be, of course, a past love relationship. Even what I always call puppy love, right? In the teenage years. If you got hurt then, that can leave scars on the inside. And if you take that with you, even if it's subconsciously, well, that will affect you later on. And in any case, whatever it is, if it is time to let it go, and you will have to work out what it is for you, because it's not a personal reading, and but it is time to let it go, whatever is negatively or adversely affecting you when it comes to love. And the evergreen aspect also says that nothing is lost. And maybe that is applicable if you tend to think like, well, I missed out, right? I missed the boat. I'm too old, too tall, too fat, all these silly things that aren't silly if you feel them, if you believe them. But in essence, nothing is lost. And anything is possible. You're never too old or too anything for love. And it really is time to shift into the positive. So you also create and attract what you do like and desire. Right? That's this evergreen aspect, that what I said, your thoughts, your own thoughts, beliefs, convictions, actions, emotions attract what comes into your life. So you have to make sure, be aware that these are all positive. Okay. Right, the next card we have is Grove. And this is about what you do see, what you are aware of, your personality, your ego, all that stuff. This is in your conscious, what you do know and see. And the grove in itself is much about connecting with spirit in a sanctuary. But it's also about your support system and community. And when I narrow that last bit down to love, right, a relationship and a partner, because that's what the reading is about, it makes me feel that maybe your view of a relationship and a partner and what that would be like is skewed. As if you have an idea or model of this in your mind, which could be based on things like maybe your parents' relationship or your own experiences. But it isn't correct. The view you have, the model, so to speak, is not correct, and it doesn't serve you. And what comes up for me is looking at the artwork is, do you have a love relationship or a partner on a pedestal because of the way he's standing, right? And with that, do you make it bigger than it should be? And because that's quite the thing to do. You should never make anything really, but especially a love relationship or a partner, the center of your universe. That's not good. So you shouldn't put it on a pedestal. So that's an option. I'm not saying that's the case for everyone, but that came through very strong. And with the next card, I'm just gonna combine that. And the next card is the message from your higher self or spirit or the angels, whatever you want to choose. So combining that is that it would be helpful for you to work on making it a concrete, doable thing. So have a plan of action in how to go about it. How do you want a love relationship and a partner to be? And do that in a more realistic way. Like that boy in the image, the birch card, he's also very down to earth. He has with him all that he needs to plant new saplings, birch saplings. And he has everything he needs for that. And these are the new seeds that he's going to plant for what he has in mind. And it's very down to earth. It's very practical, right? And that's what you should do and be like as well. Be grounded, down to earth, and realistic. And not put anything on a pedestal or make it very dreamy or stuff like that, like a fantasy or castle in the air or something. Be realistic about it, and make sure that you yourself have what is needed to make love work. And if you're not involved yet, to find love and to then make it work, of course, once you've found it. And that means anything practical, from being available in the sense that you can be found, whether online or in real life. If a potential partner can't find you, well, you're not going to find love either, right? So maybe you should become a member of a dating site or go out and about more so you can meet people and a potential partner. But it also asks you to take into account if you yourself are a match for what you hope and wish to find. And as a very clear example, if you're looking for an empowered, quality partner, then is that what you are? Are you empowered? Will you be considered a quality partner? Or if, you're maybe dependent, needy, fear rejection, etc., those kinds of things, right? Then you are not a match for an empowered quality partner. And then you can't find that either, because then you're not going to attract that in, right? You're going to attract people in who are at the same vibrational level as you are. So if you're looking for a quality partner, you have to be a match for that. So think about that. Are you? And also, is your own heart open to give and receive? Especially the receiving part. Giving tends to be relatively easy for most people, but receiving is usually very difficult. And we tend to brush that off, right? Like, think of a compliment. Oh, you look really good today. No, my hair is, doesn't look right, or I didn't even put any makeup on, or whatever. We tend to just make that smaller, brush it off, instead of saying, oh, wow, thank you. That just makes my day. Thank you. That feels really good. Thank you. That's receiving, letting it in. And so, can you, right? And if there are still hiccups and you're not a match for what you want in that sense, then take time to work on these things so that you are a match for what you're looking for. And Birch also speaks of renewal, new life. A promise it's a promise of a fresh new start. And bear in mind to move forward from the heart. That's always very important. And there is a lot of wisdom in your heart, and let that be your guidance, your compass. So stay connected to that and not to the heart and the ego. Because I was actually really feeling with this first card, what you're not aware of, that maybe that commitment that I spoke of, that we see in the card as well, maybe you are too aware, too focused on a career, or from the head, doing things from the head. And but especially if you have been geared towards getting a career going and work going, and maybe you didn't have any choice, right? And I mean, we all need food on the table and pay the bills, but then the chances are that you then get out of your heart and more in the ego and the head, and that can hinder your love life, what you're going to find. And that comes up here again as well, not as well, but at least here, right? Be in the heart, act from the heart, feel from the heart, really feel. And okay, right, the last card, this is the Birch was the message from spirit or your higher self. This is you. The last card is for the outcome. And you is about transformation. Certain things have completed, ended, and will leave your life. And that's in a passive way, but it can also take more active forms, which means that you will yourself see what you have completed and learned, and then you decide more actively to let go of that. Both are possible to happen, right? That it just goes by itself, or you taking a more active role in that, or both. But in any case, that opens up the leaving of the old, the finishing of the old, opens a path to the new, which could be a bit scary, because you can't see where that's headed. You know what you got, but you do not know what you're going to get, right? In that sense, it always feels safer to stay put, but that's not possible anymore if you want to have love and a fulfilling life, etc., etc. But it's also not important, that's the message also with this card, that you to know where you are going. It's all about trusting, flowing with the process, just following the process. And that will get you through this ending and birthing of something entirely new. So all you have to do is trust the process. Um, and as you is about transformation, it is giving up, in a way, and it sounds drastic, it isn't really, but it is giving up an aspect of yourself to become reinvented. And again, that may sound drastic and maybe even scary, but it isn't. It's just inner growth. That's also a process, right? It's not like you have to cut off a limb, and make do with that all of a sudden. Usually it's a gradual thing. It's just growth. It comes with growth. And that growth will also usher in the new. And that can be renewed love or new love or anything new, really. But since this is about a love reading, or is a love reading, it will certainly open new doors and possibilities to finding love. If you really trust and follow the process and all the stuff that came up with this reading. So I do hope it resonates. And this is it. This is all I have for you. And I hope it's helpful. And thank you for watching. And I will see you again. I will be back again soon. Bye. Right, numbers 2. Here is your reading, the first card. And we're going to look at, with this reading, I've used a spread with 4 cards, 4 positions. And basically, the intent is to look at why things are going the way they are going in your love life, in relationships, in love relationships. And the first card is what you are not aware of, what aren't you seeing. And that can be about yourself or anything concerning your love life. And then we have Ivy, the first card. And that says that there may be old wounds that in a way still impact you. But that in spite of that, you are always growing, evolving, learning, and growing out of these wounds and pain and things of the past and up towards the light like Ivy does. And Ivy actually spirals upwards to the light. And this is what you're not fully aware of. You not maybe, because this comes up with the cards, and I'm just going to trust the cards. What it basically says is that you are then feeling that these wounds are still, fully impacting you, while in actual fact you have healed from them quite a lot or completely. And you're not fully aware of that. And you have grown from that. You've learned from it. And you're not the same person anymore. And it can be that what holds you back when it comes to love is fear of something repeating that happened in the past. Maybe something that happened a few times in the past. And that doesn't have to be in love relationships. It can be both love relationships and in other things. Often there is a theme, right? And maybe you fear that it's going to happen again. And that holds you back then, right? Then you daren't really step into love with an open heart. But this message then says that you are not the same person anymore. So chances of something repeating aren't very high, because you've grown, you've learned, right? Even if you come, there is another card in another deck by I think it's the Wisdom of the Oracle with a circle. Even if you have gone in a circle and you think you come back to the same point that you were when you started that circle, you are not the same person anymore when you come to that point, because you've made an entire circle in which you learned and grew and experienced, etc. Right? So even if you come back to a similar point, it's gonna be different because you are not the same person anymore. And that's the same with the infinity symbol. I never understood that very well because I always figured, well, okay, you can go like that, for eternity, but nothing ever is going to change. But it is. Even the infinity symbol, at some point, I could just feel it viscerally. The infinity symbol is also not a flat. It's the same thing energetically. It's also spiraling because you can come back to that middle point, but you're not ever the same person anymore as the first time or the previous time you were at that center point. You keep growing, evolving, learning. So if this resonates with you, that you are deep down, it can be quite subconscious, fearing that something is going to repeat itself, something is going to happen again, right? Someone might be, they're going to dump me again, they're going to leave me again, they're not going to commit to me again, blah, 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 all these things. You are not the same person. That's very good to try to get in your conscious mind, because this is what you're not seeing. And Ivy is also about personal and soul growth, which means that you have been wounded before, maybe, but also that you have the power to change things. Like if you have a tapestry, the tapestry of your life or your love life, if there are threads in there that you don't like, then you can remove them and replace them with something that you do like. You have that power. Everyone has that power. That means that you have power and control. Things don't or don't have to just happen to you, right? You have control. Ivy is extremely tough and strong as a plant, and it can almost grow anywhere. And that's what it does too, And if it can't go up, if there's not a tree or a fence or anything for it to hold on to and grow upwards, it will just grow over the ground. It just does. I know that because I've got that in my garden. I have ivy in my hedge, and in places where it can't go up, or maybe there's not enough light, I don't know, then it just grows across over the lawn, in the lawn. And it just keeps growing, unless I remove it. It's very, very strong. It finds a way. And you have these qualities as well. But you don't really see that or don't really acknowledge that. It's basically persistence and belief in your own strength. Well, you do have that inner strength. And you can also see that, I have to just add that, okay? You can also see that toughness and strength of ivy, which you also have, right? When you have to remove ivy, a whole lot of ivy, from a brick wall. I don't know if you've ever seen that or tried that. It is possible to do that, but it is extremely difficult. And it will leave a serious mark on the bricks, because actually the roots of the ivy get in the brick as it climbs up to hold on. That's why it leaves a mark, right? And that's why it's so difficult to tear it off, to get it off. And that strength and power and resolve to grow to the light is what you have as well, but you don't fully see or appreciate that. And that last piece about that brick wall, that also says that you may not have a clue as to how attractive you are to potential partners. You may not see that at all, and that is because if you remove ivy from a wall, it leaves a lasting impression. And I feel you do that as well. When you've been in a love relationship, a connection, or if you have never been in a connection, then maybe just still, you meet people, right? You still meet potential partners, just people in general, that you leave a long-lasting impression on other people. Just like the ivy leaves a very long-lasting impression on a brick wall. The same thing. And you really are someone special and not easy for a partner or maybe potential partner to forget and let go. You know, it's a lasting impression, maybe even. And that just says so much about how special and magical you are. Maybe you have to believe in yourself a little bit more. So now we're going into the next position, next question. This is about what you are aware of, what you do see, what is in the conscious mind. And then we have apple, and apple is related to Avalon. Avalon means Isle of Apples. It's about female lineage, abundance, also choices. And well, as you likely know, but maybe not, but I suppose so, Avalon, the Isle of Avalon, disappeared in the mist. Initially, it wasn't in the mist, but because of what happened back then, it became veiled. It withdrew into another dimension, and it can only be found by certain people who have a certain vibration. And that makes me feel that, yeah, do you feel that you are not seen or not seen for who you are? Are you often overlooked, or do you feel that way? Did you maybe withdraw and change the way you present yourself based on past events? Right? And sometimes we also even develop behavior that allows us to blend in or stand out at will. Kind of like a chameleon, you know, that you choose, like, I don't feel comfortable here, I'm just gonna, blend in, and you know how to do that. And these can be conscious, but also slightly subconscious things if you do that. And it can be an asset if you are able to do that, to blend in or stand out at will. But it can also become a hindrance, a problem. And if it is a problem, then you should do something about that, right? Because if it hinders you in life and stops you from being you and showing up and living the authentic you that you are, then the begs the question, why? Because then, if it's a problem, a hindrance, it's not handy in your love life, right? And then that's not an asset anymore. And when we look at the first card, the ivy, we saw that you have all it takes to be visible and to venture out there, because you have that strength. We've seen that. It's just you're not really all that aware of it, but you do have that. So there's no need in that sense to make yourself invisible, to dim your light, to fit in. Basically, that's what it comes down to. And the apple is also about choices, and that's also interesting, because it says that once you make a choice, you do have to go for that choice wholeheartedly. Basically, like when you are in a restaurant and you choose a meal you want to eat, you're not gonna feel like, oh, I now really feel sad and bad that I'm not eating that and that and that. That's just nonsense, right? Because then you're ruining your own meal that you're eating. When you pick something from the menu, you just go for that. You enjoy it wholeheartedly. You're not thinking about all the other stuff you could be eating. You know, you made a choice. And that's also what comes up with Apple with this card, that you have to do that and enjoy it as well. And is that maybe a problem for you? Do you actually, when it comes to love and dating, etc., do you make a clear choice and then stick to it and enjoy it? Or are you quite wishy-washy? Like that would be like showing up on a dating site or real life or whatever, or energetically wanting to date and find love, and then the next moment your heart isn't in it anymore for whatever reason, like, yeah, but maybe I shouldn't, maybe I'll try next week, maybe blah blah blah, and then you pull back, you withdraw again in the mist, right? And then you become invisible again. And it can also be that slightly different, that you don't make a choice, and because you cut off potential partners before they even had a chance to show you who they are. Right? So before it can actually go anywhere, you kind of like, nah, don't like that, delete. And that's also possible, right? Then you're also not wholeheartedly going for it, not in it fully, in the whole thing. And again, if that rings true, then ask yourself, why? Is it because you fear making the same old mistake? Because if that is so, if that is the case, if that even triggers something very slightly in the back of your mind, we saw with Ivy that you're not going to make the same mistake because you're not the same person anymore. Right? So trust in that. And and when you do, you can also have the abundance that comes with Apple, because that's also a quality of this card, of this Ogham. And it is very much feminine energy, and that's a great thing to embody, but it has to be backed up properly by masculine energy. So that masculine energy prevents you from becoming wishy-washy, being in and out and blah blah, all that stuff, right? And the wishy-washy is like, you're flowing, you're doing it, you're going for it, and then you're diverting because maybe not, I don't know, and then you withdraw, you become elusive again, and or maybe even downright absent, right? That you're not going anywhere, or energetically, you can be energetically absent as well, and then you show up again, and then you try this way, then you try that way, you take this route and that route. That's wishy-washy, right? That's not a steady course, like I'm shooting an arrow and it's a straight arrow and I'm going in that direction and I'm gonna follow through. But if you do that, the problem is then if you act like that in the dating and love arena, even if you're involved already with someone, behavior like that is very difficult for another as well, for the partner or a potential partner, because they can't really, for the love of God, work out what the heck you're about, what's going on. Right, and then they will likely quickly lose interest and disappear themselves. It's good to be mysterious, but there's mysterious, attractive mysteriousness and wishy-washy, and it's two different things. And you yourself, that's another thing that I feel is very important. You yourself are and have abundance for a partner. You are also that abundance. That means you have a lot to offer to someone. And but if you don't allow them the opportunity to get to know you by wishy-washy behavior, and for you to then also not allowing yourself to get to know them because you cut them off too soon or whatever, then that whimsical behavior will work against you in matters of love. And that's then, yeah. And since this is what you are aware of, then if you choose the right set, then you should recognize at least something of all this stuff that I've been talking about. Right, your third card is older, and this is the question, position, a message from spirit or your higher self concerning the theme of the reading, which is love and relationships, etc. Now, older is masculine energy, but also the balance between masculine and feminine energy. And trusting your own inner guidance and wisdom. Also, when you ask and get advice from others, meaning that if you get advice or ask advice, that you still trust your own wisdom to take that advice on board or not. You still have to feel whether it's good advice for you, whether it serves you or not. Right? That's what I meant. The older, as I said, holds both the masculine and feminine energies, but has nevertheless a very strong masculine energy. So it's about strength, resolve, backbone, protection. It's basically gels very well with the apple, what came up with apple, that if you lack this masculine energy, then you stay stuck in this wishy-washy stuff. The older, the masculine energy is like a bridge over troubled water, meaning there is a way out, a way to a new place, to doing things differently then, right? Maybe you need or want to have a new foundation to build on and to bounce off of when it comes to love. Again, maybe you want to have an entirely different routine, doing things differently so you can build a fresh, new, healthier type of relationship when it comes to love. It's important that you balance your own inner masculine and feminine energy. So take the time to figure out how that balance is inside of you. And also when you engage in matters of love, that's really very important, right? Because when you engage in love, in dating, in conversation with a potential partner or date, how do you do that? Are you maybe a bit aggressive or maybe too assertive, standoffish, or are you too passive, too dependent, right? And it can be also that in various situations you do both when you shouldn't, and I'll explain that. It could be that in certain situations you actually should be gentle, kind, passive, maybe more, not assertive, right? And then you are actually quite assertive or more aggressive. And vice versa, in situations where you should be, now I forgot the first example, where you should be more aggressive and assertive and stand your ground and stand by your boundaries and all that stuff, that you're actually too soft, too passive, too easy, not daring to, that's what I meant. So that's also possible. And then if that's the case, then your masculine and feminine energies are not balanced, right? Because if they are balanced, they complement each other perfectly, and then you know when to speak up and say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't like that. No, I don't want that. No, I'm not going to allow that, or whatever shape or form it takes, right? You're going to stick to your boundaries, and you're going to express that. Like, no, that's not on. That's not for me. I don't like that. But you can do that in a gentle, feminine way. And and you also then know when to be uh, more kind, more gentle, more flowing with it. Then, if you can do that, if you've learned that, uh, then you have quite a good balance of inner feminine, masculine energies. So, and you can tell by your own reactions, if you think about that, your own reactions to certain things, when certain events, how you're doing with that, right? If you often feel like, oh shoot, I should have said something, I should have said this, I should have done that. Well, okay, then you have been too dependent, too passive, to not sticking to your boundaries. Or if you more often feel like, if you look back, like, oh my God, did I really say that? Oh my God, I went too far. Oh, oops. Well, right, so that's how you can work it out. Oh my God, this is getting really lengthy. I hadn't intended to do that. In any case, that is very important. And if you have these feminine and masculine energies on the inside, then you get back to a middle path, which is important, because being on that middle path, coming from that middle path, will help you build a new foundation to one that will bring you joy and fulfillment. And I also feel, and I have to add that, I'm so sorry if it gets very lengthy, but I have to add that. I also feel that it's very important that you are not too easily swayed by emotions and feelings, whether they are your own or from other people or both. And that's because Alder is very water resistant. They used to make buckets out of these things and other stuff as well that had to be water resistant. And water is connected to emotions and feelings, the element of water, right? And also feminine energy with that. And that tells me it's really important to check in with your inner wisdom before making changes and decisions. Don't act on a whim, or also don't feel personally attacked when someone ghosts you or rejects you. And certainly not in the early stages, because in the early stages of a love connection, then there isn't really anything much going yet. So how can they have so much power over you that when they basically let you know that they're not interested to pursue anything further with you? Then it shouldn't affect you really, So that's also important, that you are not too easily affected or swayed by emotions, feelings, think drama, right? And don't give your power away with that. If rejection or ghosting affects you greatly, then you basically are giving your power away. Because again, if you've only just seen a person a few times, or online a few conversations or whatever, and if they suddenly disappear or reject you or whatever, why should that have such an impact on your life? It shouldn't. Because you are not really all that emotionally involved with that person yet. So don't make it bigger than it need be. Okay. I just have to show you this briefly. I hope you haven't dozed off. My Nila is always sleeping when I'm doing readings. She always goes to a basket to have a good snooze. Isn't she cute? Hi Nila, hello. Right, back to the reading. I had to do that, I'm sorry. I hope you're still awake. Last card, outcome, and we have elder. And outcome is not like, I'm not going to tell you like you're going to meet someone next year, this year, next month, or whatever. It doesn't work like that. I don't work like that. I try to give you stuff that can make you, can help you develop and do things differently and so on. Elder is all about death and rebirth, transformation, letting go of the old, clearing and cleaning out and letting in the new, right? And concerning things and patterns and ways that do not serve you any longer. And it's also about looking at what you have achieved. And then in this case, because it's a love reading, concerning love, in love relationships. How much have you learned? How much have you grown? It might really pay off to look at your entire love life and not to go through emotions again, but just to look at how things worked or not worked, and the why of things, and your own part in that, and because then you can learn what you can do differently, maybe, and it's really often very good to do that. But apart from that, it then also can help you see how much you have already changed and grown and outgrown patterns and things, and and possibly also stuff that you overcame that made you stronger. You are not the same person anymore. And if you can truly embrace that and let that in, you can have a completely different new outcome in your love life, because you're standing at the threshold of the new. That's what this is with this card. And but the letting go and shedding is important, lest you take old stuff with you into the new, right? Then you don't have a new, because then you're still giving energy and power to the old, and you don't want that. You should let that go and not give that power anymore. Maybe you can visualize. I often do that stuff. That it can be so helpful. Visualize the old as a cape around your shoulders. You can visualize it, see it in your mind's eye with the length, the color, etc. of the old. And then you see it slide off, allow it to slide off you completely and drop onto the floor. Feel that, see that. It's no longer important, it's no longer attached to you. And then turn around and face that new doorway. Face the new. And maybe you can even visualize a doorway, an arch or a door that you then open. And don't be surprised that if you do that a brand new cloak is put around your shoulders by the angels. A lighter one that reflects your colors, your just your light. It radiates your light of who you truly are, who you are. And that cloak will protect you, keep you warm. And it will also radiate out that light so others can see it. Right? So maybe do that. And I can see, I may mispronounce that, I can see Hecate, the goddess, the Greek goddess, nod and smile in approval now. I've never had that happen before. I could actually see it. She's smiling and nodding. And she is one of the goddesses of the elder tree. And she's about many things. She's a very, very powerful goddess. And one of the things she is about is helping choose a path when you're on a crossroads. And she nods and smiles. So go ahead, venture out there. The future is looking good. And and if you did all this that has come up with the reading, you will stand a much, much greater chance of finally meeting that wonderful partner. And that is always as far as I go when, with outcomes in love. So it's looking good, provided you do the whole process. I'm going to leave you with this. I hope it feels good. And I'll be back soon with another reading. Bye.